Alright, so today I want to show you a complete masterpiece for the fingerstyle guitar. It fully reinvented the way that I approach the key of D, and it has the most aptly titled name in all of the blues idiom. This is To Do This, You Got to Know How. What's up, folks? My name is Kyle Orla, and welcome back to the studio. We check out all folk players from the past and find their relevance today as relevant as we can. And this is an ongoing series here called Alphabetical Blues, where we check out the most contextually important keys for the blues idiom, the folk guitar idiom, and find tunes that make those keys sound like music. And so if you've been following along, we've done the key of A, we've done B flat, and we've done the key of C. And this is the whole contextual thing. We're not doing all the keys, right? We didn't do the key of B, and we're not going to do the key of C sharp. C sharp is something more like you want to do, not want to play in this kind of thing. I do get one dad joke per video as a new dad, so there was. Anyway, we're going to check out the key of D today. We're going to check out the first time through of To Do This, You Got to Know How. We're going to look at how he scaled the neck, his fluid left-hand approach for doing so, and his insanely complex and hard to figure out thumb work. Lonnie Johnson, if you don't know his name, one of the greatest guitar players ever to record, and one of the earliest. He actually started on violin as a blues violin player, and that stuff's amazing too. But when he started playing guitar, man, he really changed the game. He's one of the first ones to ever take a solo, at least a solo in the way we think of a solo, with those big, beautiful bends. You know. This is essentially a solo too, though. It's just in the fingerstyle tradition. I'm almost certain he's improvising within the framework of the tune. Now the tune's amazing. I'm stoked you're gonna learn it, but almost as cool as the tune is the tuning that makes this tune possible. Now I see online a lot of folks call it G6 tuning. I think of it as like half Spanish or half G. So it's kind of like drop D. So you take your low E string down to a D, and then you take your A string down to a G. So that's what I call half Spanish. So to me, the coolest thing about this is the first three strings are the same. I don't have to relearn any new shapes, but I get the advantage of an open tuning where I have bass notes to write against. Right, so I have a D chord there that works with my open D strings. I have a G chord here, which works with my open G strings. So it's like a really, really hybrid tuning. So I can, any scales I know, any chords I know, they remain the same. So let's just start with the top string. Don't even worry about the basses, and we can set up kind of what's going on here with this tune. So the first line here. So I'm going to break a cardinal rule here for this series. I never mentioned it out loud, but so far we're on the key of D, right? We've yet to talk about a scale. Which scales aren't really a part of how a lot of these blues players visualize the neck. I don't think. I think scales and modes and all that stuff is stuff that really developed a little bit later. Started to like take the classical ideology and kind of couple it with jazz and blues language. Well, I'm going to use a scale here just to talk about some degrees, some scale degrees to help you visualize this a little bit. So we're going to run the scale up the B string, and then transfer the last three notes on the E string. You can even run up to the 12th fret if you want to, but that's going D to D. Now, if you look at the first measure here, you've got 10, 12, 10, 8, 10, 8. That 8 wasn't in the scale, right? And then if you look at the next measure, this note wasn't in the scale either, right? So I'm not showing you the scale to show you the right notes. I'm showing you the scale to show you how he varies from what's expected. And one thing you could call the scale, I just call it the D7 scale usually, but it's also called the D-Mixolydian scale. Again, you know, sometimes there's terms that sound more complicated than they are, but the D7 scale I usually call it, using that 8th fret. That's getting that flatted 7th, and that would fit your D7 chord. Now, if that's the first you've ever heard of the D-Mixolydian or the D7 scale, or that idea that you can play a different scale than the major scale, it's not super edgy. It's pretty common, especially in like old blues and like old fiddle tunes. That sound of the flatted 7, it's right at home. This, though, remember our scale so far is going like this. That's we're flatting the 7th. Well, what's going on with this note, right? We're supposed to have the 8th fret and we have the 9th fret. Now this is where I want to just kind of break away from the idea of scales. I almost don't ever think in scales, and especially don't in this instance, because I know there's a person out there that would want to call this Lydian dominant, which just means we have a sharp 4 and we have a flat 7th. If you just got like way overwhelmed with titles, that's why I don't like to name things, because it makes things more confusing than they are. Just know that the sound of this sharp 4 or the flat 5th, you could also call it the flat 5th, which lives in the blues scale. That's a scale a lot of people know. It's just common, and it's common as a leading tone to the 5th. So just keep that in mind, that the 5th degree, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it can be approached in this style by a half step. So I view it as a half step approach. Now checking this out against the bass note can really help, just to kind of give structure to this tonality. So giving this like a long bass note. That is bending to the flatted 3rd. It's something that Django Reinhardt did a lot of as well. And it really sets us up for the next chord. That's going to be the G chord that we get to use the G string with. They used to be the A string. But before we check that out, we got to check out Lonnie's bass rhythms on this first part, because they're totally insane. Now the original recording is really crummy and it's so fast that it's hard to know exactly what he's doing, but what I feel like he's doing, he's adding this shuffle rhythm in with his right hand. So you've got just the thumb, you've got 1, 2, and 3, 4, and. So you got that shuffle rhythm on the first measure here. And then just a steady bass on this one. Shuffle. Steady. Now this is my favorite part. After the bend, the open G string, that's the 4 chord, it starts on the and of 4. Before the next measure starts, he kicks that open G string. And you just let it ride. Then we have this amazing run, which he's utilizing open strings. This is a really cool thing with Lonnie's style. It's common in bluegrass stuff. It's common all over the place in guitar. You're just taking advantage of the things that guitar does well, which is allowing you to play way back here while your hand is moving way up here, which is what open strings afford us. So this line, we go, we have 2nd fret on the G, open B, which is the same as this note. It just sounds like a scale, but it's played conventionally different than any other instrument could do. So after that run, you bend, walk up to this A chord, the 5 chord, and then we go a little A7 arpeggio to this. Standard of all standards turnaround, which is awesome. Now, as always, the tab is available over on the Patreon, but as a part of this ABC Blues we're doing, Alphabetical Blues, there's going to be a long-form lesson at the end of the month of me breaking down this entire tune. The entire tune. I have to learn it all first, so give me till the end of the month. So that's available at the $10 level. You get the tab, you get the slow play along, and then you get a long-form, just like kind of breakdown, a concept breakdown. I've already got all that for the key of A, B flat, and C. It also gets you like years of other tabs and content, so we'll see you there. Otherwise, look for the key of E. That's coming up next month. Take care, everybody.